Hello, this is wmpyr. More on my friend visiting. One of the cool things that we did was we talked about a World War I technique, which is probably also used in World War I, World War II, and perhaps even beyond that. It's a technique called the Chinjab, right? So we talked about it, we discussed it, and we were trying to figure out the context in which it was used. So I introduced and showed him the technique and the possible applications from there. And then we were thinking about it, and what we basically got into was the bayonet fighting. So to simulate a bayonet, got this big PVC pipe, and it pretty much carried it like a rifle. And then from there, one of us was trying to kind of take away the rifle from the other person. So the chin jab seemed to really have a good place, like it made sense. It's close quarters combat. We also even went as far as to imagine a confined space, like in a trench, and things of that nature. So it's basically like a stand-up grappling type situation. So right, so the circumstance once again was more like you have the weapon and you're trying to wrestle it away from the other person, and at that point you see an opportunity for a chin jab, so boom, that's where that comes in. And once again, it's not to blast the guy. Yes, it's still a strike, it's definitely a strike, but it's more so to disrupt their balance, to disrupt their base, to make their chin go up. Therefore now they're not in good base, and that was the idea, because if they're in a strong base, they could defend, they could try to take this away from you, or they could retain the weapon, or they could go to other secondary weapons and stuff like that. So the idea here was to disrupt the whole mechanical system that is the human body by changing, putting the base, the skeletal structure, the alignment into a weaker position. So that was more so the idea. And then from there, the eyes were great. And really attacking the eyes, and we also saw that you could switch, because it's just right there. You could go to the ear, you could yank on that, and go back to the eyes. And unrelenting attacks to the eyes only made sense because the person's not just going to they're not just going to give you their eyes. They're going to be doing this kind of stuff as you're both trying to take away the weapon. So you just had to keep going with that. And in my case, I felt like the nose was a valid attack that we did, and we did it to each other lightly. Lightly, but enough to where I said to the guy, I was like, when he did it to me, I was like, afterwards I could still feel his fingerprints on my nose, on my cheek, in the eye area. And I know he was obviously taking it real easy on me and stuff. There was no bruises or no scratches or anything, but I could just feel a lot of the pressure on the sensitive areas of the face. It was very, very disrupting. And then at one point, I said to the guy, okay, let's actually go all the way and take the person to the ground. So he did it to me, and I had the weapon, or did I have the weapon? I think so. I had the weapon. He went for a double leg at this point, and I went to the ground. I went to the ground with no intention of grappling the guy, right? And his goal was to basically get on the mount and then punch and punch, and finish me that way, right? So the whole time I was just raking on him, and this goes into what Richard Dimitri talks about in his Senshido program, where basically I forgot what it was called. It's not called a talon, but it's a concept based on the claw attack. It's not a technique, but from my understanding, it's an entire concept based around that. So anyway, for us, it came from this. It came from the chin jab, and I can see how that totally it fits into a real life type situation, where once again the guy was trying to take me down to the ground, and boom, I went right for the eyes and just relentlessly just kept clawing him and doing all this kind of stuff to the face. Of course, our intensity level was low and everything, but we just kept going and going, and he saw that he wasn't able to do what he wanted. He couldn't accomplish his goal. And then now we switched, and it was my turn to take him down. So I went and to try to take him down, and he put his hand right here on my face, and he started to go at it. And, I was lightly going, okay, and we're indoors, so I didn't want to do a full takedown, but then I noticed that he wasn't going down easy, so I was like, okay, then let me actually do a proper takedown. And I was kind of worried for him, but yeah, I went for the takedown, and he was fine. We did the takedown, and let me tell you, folks, I'm not a total beginner in grappling, so it's not like I would have just fallen into his guard. I told him, I was like, I would have definitely, under normal circumstances, I wouldn't let you just put me in the guard. I would definitely prevent it, so I wouldn't even go into it, and then I would pass it for sure and get into a better position to drop some strikes, get in a knee on the belly or something like that. But in this case, because this was so distracting in my face, I ended up in his guard, and then from there it just kept going and going, and it's not like I could have gotten into a good position and still drop a few strikes from there. So I had to kind of like get up, posture up, and get completely up. And then when I went to punch the guy at this point, I was, because the whole, the claw attack was so distracting that he had enough space to just get away, and he kicked me off, and that was good for him. So I was like, man, this is really, really good. If you are a non-grappler or you're not confident in your grappling skills, I don't feel like you should be a non-grappler. You should have some knowledge in the grappling, because you never know if that's going to happen, for sure. But if you're not confident in your grappling skills, or the other guy's a better grappler, you never know, right? So in a situation like that, having the chin jab and then the claw attack that follows up afterwards, that is great to have in your arsenal, especially for CQC. And we also discussed, went over real briefly the what is it called? The shin scrape technique, which was a kick to the knee, you scrape down the shin, and then you end with a stomp on the top of the foot. So it's like a triple hit combo type thing. And we talked about that and how it links with the chin jab, the claw, and then the takedown that you do from the chin jab claw technique. So yeah, we briefly discussed all that, but it was fun just hypothetically kind of experimenting how this would kind of like go in more of a realistic type scenario, or what it would be like in a combat situation. So anyway, hope you found that interesting. Thank you for listening, and take care, folks.